We have here a 2016 or 2017 A1708 MacBook Pro. Appeared it wasn't turning on, but once I investigated and found the backlight flex cable here is torn. This will cause the screen to not light up, so it would appear like it's not turning on. This is a little something that was in the trackpad flex cable. Caused a little dimple. Trackpad does work though. So we're moving on to remove the upper assembly, which is the LCD screen. We'll skip through it here a little bit and get to the next step. All right, the screen assembly is removed, and just setting up my kind of little homemade jig to tape the cable down to kind of know what length it is. I have like a little marker on there, and I'm just scraping a new line just so I can see it better. But this is so that I can see where to place the new cable to make it a little bit longer. And the issue with these is that the cable is too short, and the consistent opening and closing of the lid causes that cable to bend over and over and eventually break. It's a terrible design. The other issue these tend to have is the LCD video cables that are right near where my fingers are working. They get a lot of dirt, and people eating and the crumbs fall inside of that little area, and they get pinched between the cable and the chassis, and it puts a dimple in the cable, which you kind of saw a little previous on that trackpad cable. So here I just continue working on this. I cut I'll put this cable up first, and then I'll cut it. Just get an idea of placement here. All right, and from here I just got to scrape the coating off of the original flex cable. It's a little time consuming, but find this to be a good way. Um, Other people out there, I think we've all kind of tried different ways. This one I've done a few times, and it seems to work pretty well. There's like a little coating over the top of the copper traces, and I got to scrape that off in order for the solder to stick to it. Then I have to do the same thing to the new flex cable. I'm just folding the flex cable back a little bit here. Had a little flux and solder the traces. Just using a little hot air to get it secured a little bit, and then I'll put a little heat from the backside to solder those joints up, and then also from the front side, solder those as well. Try to flatten it out a little. If you bend these real sharp, they have a tendency to break the traces, so you got to watch out for that and just make sure you solder over them. I'm just checking for some continuity and making sure that I'm not shorting any of them out to one another. Didn't seem like it was making good connections here, so I end up just resoldering a little more over the top. That one there, some of the copper from the trace kind of peeled back, so I decided to put a little jumper there just to be safe. Cleaned it up and then put some conformal coating over the top, and then I'll use a UV light to cure that. Here I just had a little Kapton tape over the flex cable just to give it a little more protection. And then I'm just going to pop it back in the chassis. I'm not going to fully assemble it, but I'm going to plug in the connector to the logic board and turn it on and see if we get an image. All right, the MacBook is powering on. And you're going to see a line right up at the top there. Unfortunately, this is a bad display, but I just want to really quick check the flex cables, which I do. Looking for some dimples. There was a little bit, nothing crazy. I scraped this one away just to check, but it did not affect any of the traces, so this is not the problem, and it is confirmed that the display itself is defective. So this will require a new screen. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.